You're listening to Rise to Your Purpose, a personal and spiritual development podcast for female entrepreneurs with a mission.
We're your hosts, Brandie and Natalie.
Welcome to another episode of Rise to Your Purpose. On this episode, you will get to hear from Brandie Thomas and her special guest, Emily Stryker, who is the founder of Glory Bound subscription boxes. We are super excited to be sharing Emily with you guys today, as she actually was collaborating with us, and we had our Rise to Your Purpose devotional in one of her Glory Bound subscription box for her summer box. So I love her mission. We love her mission. And we are excited to share more about it and how you can get involved with her and the fellow faith-based entrepreneurs that she supports. I hope you enjoy this episode. Right. Hi, friends and Purpose Partners. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of Rise to Your Purpose. I'm Brandie, and I'm one of the co-founders of Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising, where we guide women to create a business that works for you while creating kingdom impact and operating in rest. I am super excited to have Emily Stryker on the podcast with me today. Emily is the creator of Glory Bound subscription boxes, and she is on a mission to equip women with materials and community needed to strengthen your relationship with Christ. And you all know we love that mission. So we're excited to be collaborating with Emily as well. And our Rise to Your Purpose devotional was actually in this quarter's subscription box. So we're super excited to meet any of the new listeners on here that got to know us through the subscription box. And we just love Emily's mission here at Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising. So we are excited just to share what is going on with this Glory Bound box and how you guys can become a part of it if this is something that you're interested in. So Emily, welcome to Rise to Your Purpose. Can you share with us how Glory Bound got started and just tell us all about it?
So truly, I never really thought about creating a subscription box. What this really started from was when the whole COVID thing happened, everything shut down. Our MOPS group, my local chapter of moms of preschoolers, we were meeting a lot and we weren't able to meet in person anymore. The church that we were going to closed its doors. The life groups got shut down. It all went virtual, but it didn't feel the same. So we were lacking that sense of community of like an open place where you could come and talk about mom stuff, ask for advice, study the word together. So what we did was we created an online Facebook group that was free for anybody to join. And we started doing Bible studies. So I was like, hey, let's pick one and do it together. And we would do a Zoom call. I would go live in the group because some people prefer just an audible experience. And every day I was getting asked by multiple people, what study are you doing? How can I buy it? Where can I get it? Where do I find it? What day are you on? And I'm like, whoa, like this is a lot. I was like, why don't I make this simpler for everybody and just put it in a box and then send it to you? And being a mom, I know how it can feel overwhelming to have too much content or to feel like you signed up for too much. So I didn't want it to be like a monthly subscription. So we do quarterly. And in that box, you're going to find all small women-owned Christian-based businesses that have products in there, because truly that's the ripple effect that we're after. It's not just for the people getting the box. Obviously, huge perk if you get the box, but it's for the women who have the products in the box, because we also make a custom magazine where we highlight the vendors, where we talk about why they're doing what we're doing. We give coupon codes to drive traffic to their website, because that's where the real impact happens. So I'm just pulling together the amazing things that are already going on in this community and sharing it with the women in this group that we've built that's over 1,600 women strong already.
That is awesome. Praise God for that. And I just love how God can take what seems to be an issue, but he works all things for our good, right? So I love that he took what could have been, viewed as isolation or, lack of community, and used you to create community and create that sisterhood, sisters in Christ. And so I just love your mission, and I'm so grateful to be a part of one of your boxes. So I really appreciate you.
Me too. Your devotional is amazing, by the way. Like, I am loving it. It's the first piece we're actually working through, because in our summer box, we have the Rise to Your Purpose devotional. We have another devotional by Daily Grace Company, and we paired it with Lauren Shane's Rise Above journal. So that's the theme, right? To rise up, and it all complements each other so well. So that's everything that you would find in the summer box.
I love that. So I also love that your subscription box is unique in that you do quarterly subscriptions instead of the
Hmm.
monthly. And so I think that's such a great idea too, like you said, not being overwhelmed by the content. Because I know I've been
Absolutely.
reading the same book for like, I don't know, over a year. And so I love
Right.
that you kind of chunk it down and you actually like go live, right? And read the devotional or discuss it. So can you talk me through how you interact with your community once they get the box and what is that like?
Absolutely. So I upload all of my reviews onto YouTube on a channel because not everybody has Facebook. I have
Mhm.
found that it subscribes to our stuff. I go on Instagram once in a while to go live, and TikTok. I try to disperse to A, reach new people, and B, keep those people that came to me on those platforms engaged in what I'm doing. But my subscribers, they get weekly reviews, and in the magazine, I should have brought one with me. There is a calendar of our reviews. So every Thursday I go live and review the content that we're doing. And then we do Wednesday night Zoom calls. And what I have found is the more I remind people and try to hold them accountable, the more they show up, because it can be hard. Even if, like,
Mhm.
especially as a mom, like you want to do it and it sounds
Right.
fun and you sign up for it and then it comes and then you're like, oh, it's another thing I have to do. But the amazing thing I have found, especially with the women who have showed up every Wednesday that we do this, they're like, this is something I get to do. This is something I
Mhm.
look forward to. This is a time for rest. This is a time that I get to, even if I haven't even opened the book yet, I'm going to show up and
Yeah.
I'm going to just listen in and chime into the conversation, because I'll be honest, some Wednesdays, like sometimes I'm behind, sometimes other women are behind. And we go there for the community. We go there to talk
Mhm.
about what's going on in our lives. And it's just a really good resource to tap into and not feel isolated, because it can be really hard, especially if you have like a newborn and you're like, how do I even get to
Yeah.
church? There's no way I'm getting myself ready and this baby ready to get out there. But you can come on and just, mute yourself and turn off your camera and just listen in and know that we're here, and just type in the chat whatever it is to you that you need. That's what this community is there to provide.
I love that. Thank you for sharing more information on that. Where do you see
Absolutely.
Glory Bound going? Like, do you have a vision for it?
Oh my gosh, I feel like it's been guiding me, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, I didn't even mean to start a subscription box, but my really good friend and business partner, Ashley Moss, she does the Abundance Movement subscription boxes. She saw I was doing, and she's like, Emily, hello, you need a subscription box for these women. They need it. I was like, oh my gosh, you're so right. So all of my stuff is actually on her website. She created a tab for me. Bless her heart. She's been such a helpful and resourceful person in this process, and it's taught me so much and has made it so much easier than it would have ever been if I just
Mhm.
wanted to start from ground zero. So as far as where I think it's gonna go, I'm gonna grow at the pace it grows. I'm gonna keep sharing what I'm doing. And honestly, I have found one of the most like impactful ways to find organic reach has been TikTok, which is crazy. But the way that I can reach people on there, because God calls us to go to where people are.
Mhm.
In modern day, that might seem silly. Like I get backlash all the time. Oh, you spend time on TikTok. I'm like, but that's where the people are.
Yeah.
If that's where people are consuming content, why wouldn't I be there?
Right.
And something I always want to be cognitive of is using my platforms and using whatever influence that I do have, the small nugget I have, for his glory. And that's
Mhm.
why it is called Glory Bound, because I want to lead people back to the gospel. And if that's on TikTok, if people want to stay virtual, that's okay. I'll meet you there.
Yes. I love that because that is exactly what Jesus did. That's how he made the example for us to show up and serve the people in our sphere of influence. I mean, he was going to where the crowds were. He was going to where the people were. He wasn't
Absolutely.
sitting on a throne. He wasn't sitting in the church waiting for the people to come to him. He was going to the people. So I 100% am like loving everything you're putting out. I just think it's awesome.
Thank
Um,
you so much.
so this is kind of new for you. So you're a real estate agent, correct?
I am.
Well, so this type of entrepreneur, like real estate, I believe is definitely its own world of entrepreneurship, but this is
Oh, yeah.
definitely new. So do you have any tips that you would give to entrepreneurs wanting to create kingdom impact in their business?
I think it's just really important to be transparent with who you are in every
Mm,
piece, whether that is your spirituality and what you do day to day, and when you go to your job. Like, live out who you are to the fullest in every piece of it. I choose to not keep my real estate separate from my faith because for me, they're both a big piece of me. So my last listing actually that I just got an accepted offer on, when they were my buyers, the reason they chose me as their agent is they found me at an open house. And I had my Bible open because when people are coming through an open house, I just step back, let them do their thing. If they want to talk to me, they will. And I don't like looking busy on my computer. So I choose to open a book. Feel like it's pretty approachable. And I had my Bible open. And they said the reason they immediately trusted me and wanted to work with me is because they resonated with my faith in God. And for me, that spoke volumes because he tells us to not be lukewarm in our faith, ladies. He tells us to be bold. And being bold doesn't mean you need to shove it down people's throats. It just means you need to be proud to be a Jesus person. So I firmly believe that I got those buyers and I got that income because I chose to be bold in my faith with God. So then I had to list their house, and it's been a huge financial blessing for my family. And I don't know if I would have made the same connection with them had faith not been our foundation. So my biggest advice is don't feel like you need to separate pieces of you. If you, sell a product or offer a service, but you're also passionate about fitness, you can engulf it all into one thing. There's no reason to separate it. Be proud of who you are and what you believe in.
Yes, amen. And that's why at Rise to Your Purpose, we are very much more about branding yourself than branding on a product or a service. Like, because you can have, we teach diversifying your income here. So guys, if you're listening and you need help with how do I brand my faith, my fitness, my real estate business, my online, business, whatever that is, like, we are here to support you in that. So definitely reach out to our Rise to Your Purpose website to check more information on that out. But yes, like, so true, like branding yourself, because people are going to buy you. They want to build that know, like, and trust with you, and they're buying you. They're not necessarily, yes, they buy your product and your service, but they are buying you first. And so that is powerful advice that I hope everyone listening really claims and owns and takes in and starts acting on in their
100%,
business.
because there's so many real estate agents, right? Like, how many real estate agents can you think of? And by me speaking outwardly on my faith, especially on social media at first, like, some of my friends even were like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? And I'm like, you know what? I don't need to be fearful of why you think what I'm doing or whatever it is that's going through your head, because the right people are going to resonate with me. The right people are going to choose me, and I'm probably not going to get some people because of this. And I'm okay with that. It's finding the piece of who you are and who you want to represent.
Yeah. And like, you don't have to serve everybody. Like, it is okay to attract the right people and repel the wrong people. Even Jesus is like, I'm going to sort out. Like, you just be a fisherman of men and I'll sort them out.
Absolutely.
In the right
and
timings.
I feel like in your devotional, because I had this even on day one, I love that it says he's calling you to build up his kingdom. You can do this through your business, your job, your family, any circle of influence. So even if you're sitting there, you're like, well, I don't have a business. That doesn't matter. You still have a circle of influence, and you get to choose how you show up to that circle.
Amen. Yes.
So good.
Like,
so
goosebumps.
I love this topic. I could talk about it all day.
I know. So how do you see God working? And I know we've already mentioned this a lot, but like, how do you see God working through you and through your business as you're evolving?
Okay, so I'm going to share a very personal experience that I've been through lately. So we sold our home back in November, and we sold it on a whim because the market around here, seller's market, I had just got my license. I was like, I can do this for sure. And we got a rental set up, and we were searching for our next home. And we put offers in on 8 houses before we finally got the right house. And all my buyers were having great luck. Praise be for them. But we were getting really frustrated, honestly. And I kept praying, and I wasn't praying about a certain house. Every time we found a house we liked, I was like, God, if this is your will, please make this easy and seamless so that I know it's the right choice. But time and time again, even if it seemed right, even if, there were no other offers, like houses were getting taken off the market that we wanted, like literally the craziest things, the doors were getting slammed in our faces, appraisals were coming back short. And I'm like, what what is it that I'm supposed to do here? I clearly keep opening the wrong doors. Could you please just like thud me on the head to the right one? Like I was
Yeah,
getting desperate. But I wasn't asking him for something specific. I wasn't saying, make it this house.
right.
I was saying, lead me to the house that is right, or give me the patience and strength to turn away from the market for a bit if that's what I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
and wait. So the house that we did end up getting an accepted offer on, we didn't even want to go see it because I was like, it's really not my style. It's a bi-level. It needs complete renovation basically on the inside cosmetically. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what are we doing? We put in an offer under asking, which in this market, that's not really happening.
Right.
And it got accepted that day. I was like, wait, seriously? And so now I'm like, okay, so when the process starts, you're not supposed to take out lines of credit. You're not supposed to
Right.
take your money out of the bank. So now I'm like, how are we going to renovate this thing? Right? Because now we want to renovate it before we move in. And then I looked at my calendar of the closings I have up for my real estate transactions because I just got licensed back in September. I was doing
Mm-hmm.
marketing before that. And all of my closings are aligning right before our closing, and I get checks that I can cash. And it's like, wow, this adds up to basically what we need to renovate the home. That's crazy. Like
That's
he was doing
awesome.
so much. Habakkuk 1:5 here, people. He was doing work in my days that I would not believe if told. I would have not
Mm-hmm.
understood that me going to that open house, having my Bible open would lead me to the buyers, that would lead me to the financial blessings to the house I didn't even want. But now it's going to be our dream home, and it's going to be a huge blessing to our family. So that for me has been like the biggest revelation he's given me of like, see, Emily, this is what I had going
Mm-hmm.
on. And I, at the time, I was like, no, I don't see it. I don't see it. I'm lost, but I wasn't. And I stayed faithful, you guys, every night. Like I
Mm-hmm.
prayed about it. And if you just pray for his will, and if you're obedient, and if you try to listen, I know it's hard.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to release the control. But when you do, beautiful things happen.
Yes, that is so true. And that's something I've learned in my journey as a woman of faith, as a Christian, that it's in the surrender. I mean, because
Absolutely.
once we surrender, that's when our flesh and our spirit actually can become one again, and we're not in that
Hmm.
separation. And then we're also not in the conflict with our spirit, which when we're in the spirit, that's when we are in alignment with God and Jesus, and we can hear his whisper.
Yeah.
And then we can actually receive the fruits of the spirit. But when we're
Yes.
living in our flesh and we're living in lack and worry and anxiety and trying to, you know, act in our own intellect, that's when things are a struggle. But when you come into the spirit and you just rest in the spirit and receive the fruits of the spirit, then his yoke is easy and his burden is light.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing for me was just releasing that
Yeah.
control. Like I like
Mhm.
saying I didn't know which house was best for my family. That's a hard thing to say, but it's true. So
Right.
with giving that release, like I do think that he sees that, and he
Mhm.
rewards when we listen and obey, but not necessarily in the way. I'm trying to think of how to word this.
Yeah,
Not, it's not right away. It's with the
yeah.
patience. It's the reward with he's
Mhm.
setting up these little things that are happening, right? Like he's giving you little nuggets, and they might not make sense at the time. And you're like, okay, I'm receiving these blessings, but what do they even mean? And then the
Yeah.
big one comes and you're like, whoa, there it is. Like it's an amazing thing to see. So
Mhm.
if I can give you any words of advice right now, whatever you're going through, like stay strong in your faith and keep praying for his will to be done, because he will show up in your life in beautiful ways that you probably couldn't even piece together yourself if you tried.
So true. Yeah, and one thing I've learned this year even is releasing obligation and accusation. So releasing the obligation that something has to look this certain way, happen in this certain timeline,
Mm-hmm.
and then releasing the accusation that if it doesn't look this certain way and it doesn't happen in this timeline, my God's not a good God. And accusing him of not
Absolutely.
protecting me or not providing for me or not comforting me. And that has been a huge shift in my spiritual walk of just coming into alignment with the spirit, understanding what it means to actually receive the gifts of the spirit, because we can talk the talk and walk the walk, but are you actually like fully 100% receiving everything? Um, and that for me was like something huge when like a mentor was like, you need to release obligation of like how this circumstance is going to turn out and stop accusing God of being not protecting you or not showing up in your life just because it
Right.
doesn't look the way you want it to look. And so again, going back to surrender, going back to your will be done. And every time I've done that, and I haven't been able to maybe verbally speak about that in the past, like the words have just come to me this year, but whenever I have surrendered on a new house or a new job or our adoption process, I mean,
Absolutely.
everything divinely orchestrated, worked out far greater than I could have ever imagined. And like it was easy. There was flow. There wasn't resistance or separation. And so, yes, if you're building a business or you're going through a circumstance right now, like just hear our encouragement that it is okay to surrender and it's actually better to surrender. And you
Yes.
may be surprised at the acceleration you receive as well when you do surrender, because then
And I
God can
think it's
go and work
important.
for you.
Yeah, it's important to know that you're worthy of the things you receive too, because
Yes.
it's really easy to see people that are 10 steps ahead of you. Like, I mean, Ashley for me is like a huge motivation. It'd be really easy for me to compare myself to her hundreds of subscribers, you know, when I'm sitting at 60. But it's
Yeah.
like that's not how this works. Like, you need to stop thinking you can't get there and comparing yourself to somebody who's already 10 steps ahead of you. Because if you stay in that mindset of shrinking yourself down and thinking like, you know, I can't get there, you know, look at what I'm doing. But it's like everybody who got to the place that they're at worked really hard for it and did a lot more steps than what you're doing. So I think it's important to know you're worthy of it and you get to do the work to get there. And God will help you and help you make decisions through it. Because believe me, if you would have asked me even 6 months ago, hey, would you like to start a subscription box? I probably would have been like, for what?
Yeah.
what do people what do they want me to give them? And it just sometimes it happens quickly. And I think in the business world too, people are afraid to try new things and they think you have to stick to one thing and hopping around looks bad. Well, how else are you going to find what you really like
Right.
to do if you don't try new things? That seems awfully silly. You're scared that people are going to judge that you know, we're selling, you know, this product over here and now you want to try selling this product over here. Who cares?
Right.
What is actually holding you back? So that's something I had to work through because in the pandemic, I was doing a lot of new skin sales and I still use their products, love their products, sell their products. And I was talking a lot about it on social media because I hadn't found this niche yet that spoke to my heart even more.
Right.
And I did get backlash for that as well. But it's like, what is it to you if I switched what I was doing? I'm happy and I'm happy serving the people that I'm serving. So just don't be afraid to change directions if you feel called to change.
Amen. Amen to that. I see.
Yes,
That's
so
exactly
good.
like Natalie and I, our story of Rise to Your Purpose and Victorious Entrepreneurs Rising, like how that whole, and that's a story for another day, but like I am 100% feeling what you're putting down. Like I know exactly what
Right.
you're
I
talking about.
literally had made an Instagram post probably, I don't know, 6 weeks ago now, because I had somebody message me and they go, what do you do? I don't understand what it is that you do. So I listed all the things that I do. I was like, well, I'm a real estate agent. I own Elevate Media, where I help small businesses with their branding, marketing, and social media. I'm the founder of Glory Bound Boxes, and I sell new skin products. And I listed it all out and why I do each thing. And people were like, oh, so you still do all the things? I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of like collecting the things I like in my basket and dividing my time the way I see it fit. And that's okay. Your journey doesn't have to look like anybody else's.
Exactly.
You don't have to be identified as one thing.
Exactly. And I love that you brought up identity, because what we do is not our identity. How we look, all the things that the world is trying to say, this is your identity and this is who you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be. The only identity that matters is the one that God calls you. So if you're
Amen.
feeling confused on, oh, my identity is my product or my company or the business that I'm in or the amount of money in my bank account or the clothes that I wear, like that's not your identity. And if you're feeling unworthy, it's probably because you're putting your focus in the wrong thing. So calling you out there,
Absolutely.
sisters listening.
Yes. No, that's so good. And something that I love about the Glory Bound boxes is women of all walks of their faith are
Mm.
getting these, you guys. Some women literally like, I don't know if the Bible's even true. I don't know much about it. And some people have been going to church for 30 years and have asked to put products in it. You know, I have a wide range
Yeah.
of women who are using this, finding it useful, impactful, sharing it with friends and family. And it's been really, really cool to see, because our Facebook group, I always like to say, and this community as a whole is not a replacement for church. Like, you still need to be plugged into your local church. You still need to be serving there and giving there if you have the capability. But what this has been for a lot of women is a stepping stone. Maybe they've fallen out of church for the past decade. You know, they relocated to a new town and just never found their new local church. And this has been a way for them to find the motivation to get
Right.
back into doing that. So that's definitely been really cool to see, because I know for me personally, when I went off to college, if you would have asked me like, oh, like, where do you go to church? Like, I didn't have that piece of my identity anymore. That was
Yeah.
gone. That was back in my hometown. And I was like, how did this happen? Like, it happens. It truly does. So that's one of the most beautiful things I've seen out of this. It's helping people reroot themselves in their faith.
Yes. I love that. Emily, thank you so much for being on my podcast today. This has been such a beautiful conversation, and I just appreciate you so much. Last question before I go. Well, actually, I have two questions. One, are there still this quarter subscription boxes available for people to order?
Yes.
And if there are,
Yes, there's
how do
about
people find you?
So there's about 20 boxes left. We capped it at 75 this time. I made a few extra on top of the subscribers that we had. And plus I like to give them away all the time. Like, I see someone like, here, take a box because I love you. So we have boxes left for sure. You can go to the Abundance Movement website. So it's actually on Ashley Moss's website. So it's www.abundancemovement.boxes.com/glory-bound. We will put that in the show notes for you folks. But we also have really fun shirts there. I have their most popular one is Raising Tiny Disciples. And then there's child sizes of Tiny Disciples. Whenever I'm out and about, people are always like, how do I get that shirt? And I'm like, right here. So that one's been super, super fun to match with the family. Dads can get them too. Dads can rock them too. And then as far as where I'm active, so our Facebook community is free for anybody. That's where I hold our reviews. You can join our Zoom calls. You don't have to buy this box to be joining this community. And that's something I will always have available for free, because everybody deserves to be a part of this community, to be plugged in. You don't need to pay for that. If you want the physical products and to support the local women who are putting them in there, absolutely grab a box. They're only $49.95 every 3 months. Our biggest goal is to keep it as affordable as possible and meaningful. The things that are in it, you know, it's not just something you're going to be like, okay, what do I do with this? It's stuff that's actually going to help you strengthen your relationship with Christ. And then I'm also really active on Instagram. So it's Emily_Stryker. And then same with TikTok. So we can link all of that as well. But I would love for you guys to join us. It's such a wonderful, uplifting place. I always say our online community, because on Facebook, when you're scrolling, you know, it can get kind of dark or catty or whatever it is, whatever it is you're interacting with or you're friends with on Facebook, that's what you're going to see. And our goal is when you scroll and see something from us, you know, you see the light, you see goodness. So
I'm into that, because we're all about shining your light in the business world and rising your purpose here.
I'm here for it.
Awesome. Me too. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much, Emily, for taking the time out of your day to join us here.
Yes.
And have a blessed day, everybody.
Rise Your Purpose will be a weekly podcast. Our hope is to inspire and educate you on your entrepreneurial journey to help you fuel your passions, live your purpose, and build a business that works for you.
You can subscribe, rate, and comment on any podcast app. We'd love to hear from you. It makes us so happy to see you tuning in to the show. So if you're on Instagram, let us know what your favorite part of the show was by taking a screenshot of the episode you tuned into and tag us at Live Victorious on your story. Let us know what your favorite quote or takeaway from the episode was so that we can be inspired to keep creating content like this for you.
To learn more about us and get involved with our community of mission-driven entrepreneurs, join our Facebook group, Purpose Partners, where we partner together in faith and business. So until next time, build a business that works for you and stay in alignment with your mission.